so guilty.
What's good, guys? It's your girl Fats. Hope you guys are well. Today we have a special guest from Married at First Sight UK, Series 8. I'm joined by Porscha. Hey, how are you feeling? How are you?
Hey, I'm really well. I'm really well today. It's a bit cold. It's freezing.
Yes,
The
it's
weather's dropped
freezing.
like crazy. But I'm really well. How are you?
I'm great. I just had to start off like that because you've had a quite of a week. So I just need to know how you are, how you feeling. You look good.
Thank
You're
you.
looking good today.
Thank you. Why are you saying that shocked?
No, because you're glowing. You're looking fine.
Literally just, I've had a busy morning, but apart from that, this is like my normal everyday, not everyday makeup, so I don't wear makeup every day, but I got dressed up for you, so.
Oh, thank you, girl. Well, you look amazing. But before we get into everything, I gotta ask you, if you had to rate your experience on Married at First Sight UK out of 10, what would you rate it and why?
Do you know what? I'm actually going to split that into two, that question. I'm going to rate my marriage and I'm going to rate my experience.
Interesting.
So because those were very separate experiences, and I wouldn't base my experience based on my marriage. I would say my match, probably a 3 out of 10. My experience... If I'm going to be so for real, like, do you want me to be for real or do you want me to be fake?
Yeah, be for
Okay,
real.
so let's be for real. If we're gonna be for real, I would say my match 3 out of 10 in that whole process. But my experience on Married at First Sight and filming and the cast, the crew, everyone, I would say a 8.5, 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay, not bad. I thought he was gonna say something lower, but you know what? 8.5 is great.
Do you know what? I loved my experience on maths. Like I had so much fun. There was like obviously groups formed and friendships formed, but with the people that I was getting close to, I was having so much fun with them every day. And the crew, CPR production, are like amazing. They're like the best people I've ever worked with. So I really did actually have a good time while filming, even though you saw me cry a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because we don't get to see every single thing of the episode. We only get to see an hour of the episode. So for you to say that you've had an amazing time and it was an amazing experience in terms of like the filming, that's great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality. I'm not gonna lie. So
amazing. Saw your parents during your experiment. Their reaction when they found out that you was doing the experiment, and what were their instant thoughts on Terence?
Girl. So I told my mother before we actually filmed the reveal, because I needed to make sure that she would actually look after my son for those 10 weeks that I had to put aside for filming. She actually just laughed and she was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "You know what? Why not give it a shot?" And then she just kind of laughed, and she was very good at keeping the secret, so she didn't tell my dad. And then obviously during the reveal, my dad, I think he thought it was like a play, because he was super calm. He was super calm throughout filming. And then once the cameras went off, my mum was like, "Do you understand what she just said? Because you were super calm." And he was like, yeah, she's doing a play about marrying a stranger. And I was like, "No, daddy, it's for real. Like, I'm marrying a stranger." He was like, "Well, no, because we have to meet him first and make sure he's a good guy, make sure his family are good." And I'm like, "No, you don't get to meet him. Yeah, that's the point of marrying a stranger. You meet him when I meet him." And he was like, no, we can't do this. No. This is not our culture, blah, blah, blah. And my mum had to kind of talk him into it. And then he was fine with it. He's like, "I'll support you, of course." But he was still kind of like side-eyeing the whole process. So, and then initial first thoughts.
No.
They were like,
the
right.
pause.
Like,
the pause.
Because
the pause just says it all.
The thing is, you have to remember, I come from a super conservative Congolese family. So the idea of a DJ is probably the last thing that my parents wanted for me. Literally the last thing because they know Israel, I don't go clubbing. It's not really like me and my siblings, we don't really do that. So it's not like a judgment thing. It's just not really us. It's not really how we were brought up to be those kind of adults. So when they heard that, my dad was like, you know, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He gave me and Terence some advice and was like, you know what, if anything else, just try and be best friends, like try and get on as friends, build that foundation, and then everything else will flourish. Because my parents are best friends, literally. So they know that that works. But yeah, so they were obviously not happy with the fact that he's a DJ. They were skeptical because obviously we're African, and I know African and Caribbean culture is completely different, so they don't really know much about that. So they were worried about that, but they were like, just remember God. Like, to me, they were like, just remember God. Just remember God and we'll see you on the other side. So yeah, they wished me well, but I mean, my mum was just like, no. She was so honest with me. She was like, this is not going to work, but go with it. Try your best. See what happens.
Wow. And we also saw that your sister was quite skeptical, wasn't she, as well?
Yeah. Same, because my sister knows me. She's like, we're really close. But she knows my exes. She knows how I am in relationships. She knows me. She actually pulled me to the side and she was like, he's not your type. I know. He's not your usual type. But I know you. If he has a big heart, you'll look past that. So let's see how this goes. She was like, let's see how this goes. But at the time, because the day was such a whirlwind, at the time, I wasn't really taking in what they were saying. I thought they were just being overly cautious. I couldn't see that we were such an oxymoron. We were so much from like different worlds. I couldn't see it. I just felt like, oh, you know, how different could we possibly be? Like, we seem to get on. He's funny. I'm funny. Like, but I didn't really think about the lifestyle that deeply. Not on the day. I was just like, oh, maybe, you know, he won't have time for me. But I wasn't like, this isn't going to work because of lifestyles. No.
Mad. So I must say, Porscha, a lot of the viewers had a whole lot to say about the 50-50 comment. You know, there was a whole lot of craziness and madness from the viewers. Like, what did you make of all the backlash that you got in terms of the fact that because of your preference? And do you feel like perhaps a lot of like certain people are just used to just settling for the bare minimum? That's why they had a whole lot to say about what you wanted from a man.
Being completely honest, I think dating now, this generation, I think they do offer each other the bare minimum. And I don't even think it's just guys. I think it's girls as well. I feel like we've come to a situation where it's like, let's see who can show they care the least. I feel like that's how it is nowadays with dating. Like, I'm very old school. From a very young age, I dated older men. So I've always been with like quite traditional men, quite quite traditional thinking. Like, I don't remember paying for a meal when I've gone out on a date. On a date. I'm not talking about with my friends. If I go out with my friends, I will pay for a meal. If I go out myself, I'll pay for myself. But on a date, it's been more than 10 years since I've actually paid for a meal on a date, because that's just not, I just don't date men who do the whole 50-50. Honestly, if a guy invited me out, wanting to see me, somebody that I don't really know, someone who I'm unsure whether or not we're going to have a good time, and then also expected me to pay, I would find it an insult, because I would rather spend that money having dinner with my friends, knowing I'm going to have a good time. I might not even like you. You invited me out. I didn't ask you out, you know? So why would I then also pay? You've got to bear in mind, I've probably also paid for the Uber there. He might not have. If he's not paying for my dinner, he definitely didn't send me a car. So I'm probably paying for my Uber there as well. Might have got a new top or a new dress. Makeup, you know, foundation is not cheap. There's a lot. I've had to go find a babysitter. There's a lot that's gone into it to then also get there and then pay 50-50 of the meal. That's just already setting the tone for the rest of our relationship if I was to continue with this man. And I don't want to be with a man who hasn't even got the mindset to take over the reins when you're in a marriage, to take over the reins of financial responsibility. If I'm doing everything else, you gotta remember, guys, I'm a mother, so I know how hard it is to be a mum, raise a household, and also run a household, and also work. I'm a working mum. Do you understand? So I know how tiring, how exhausting it is. And if I was to now get married, that's just like another person I have to look after at home. Plus work. That's a lot for any
Yeah.
woman. I don't think it's ever meant to be like that. So the whole idea of me expecting a man to provide for me, and let's say it's not like they're not going to get anything in return. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to sit at home and do nothing. Like, being a mum is exhausting. You're also a secretary, you're also the cook, you're also the maid, you're also the cleaner, you're doing so many things, and then also working a 40-hour week, the commute into London, Jesus, no, it's a lot. So, and I do all of that by myself. Like, why would I then be with a man and still have to do all of that anyways? Like, for the sake of companionship, I'm not that lonely. So, and I'm not saying women who do want that are lonely. Like, I have friends that go 50-50 with their guy, and that's great. I don't look down on that, because that's a conscious decision that they've made, and they're very happy to do that, and they're very happy with their lifestyle. But that's just not what I want, because I've done it before and I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm doing it. I'm saying this without experience or knowledge. I've done it before. I didn't like it. I've been with guys who, when you're with them, you never see a bill, you never have to worry about money, you feel safe. And for me, that was where I felt my most happiest. That's where I felt my most feminine. And I really prefer to be in my feminine energy, because honestly, when I'm in my masculine energy, it's so exhausting.
Draining.
It's so draining. Like, I'm not a man. I don't feel great. I'm not a man. No, there's some things that I think men are just better at, and that's just the reality.
Yeah.
There's something that I think women are better at. Like, I think women are genuinely better at nurturing children. They just are. And I think men are better at doing the whole, concrete floor every day, going to the office, and the logic and the numbers. And I think men are just better at that. And some women are amazing at it. I'm not saying that they're not, but for me, I'm not one of those women. I am one of those women who is happiest when she is at home, is happiest when she is cooking and cleaning, looking after her family and looking after the people around her. So I get it. Some people are going to have criticisms, but what I can say is this. People spoke a lot about, she's not a feminist, she's taken women back 50 years. But I thought the idea of feminism was giving the women the right to choose. And that means choosing to be a CEO, choosing to be like a director, or like, an office girly, but also having the right to choose to be a housewife. And I don't feel like the corporate girls should look down on the home girls and the housewives and house moms. And I don't, just the same way, the house moms and the housewives, we don't look down on corporate women. Like, we just don't do that. It's just, we've chosen to live our lives this way. And I feel like everyone has a right to choose how they want to live their life. And there is a lot of men who do want to go 50-50, but there's a lot of men who don't. There's a lot of men who actually take enjoyment out of providing for you. There's a lot of men who want to look after you. And that's why I say, like, there's someone for everyone. And if you get to find a man who wants to look after you and you want that, I don't see why you're villainized for that. There's other women as well. They meet men who want to provide for them, but they're like, no, I want to be independent. And that also isn't a match. And that's great. And they can go their separate ways. I don't understand why, as women, we should be forced to settle, not even for things that are beneath us, but things that we don't want. Do you understand?
No, I totally agree, because I just felt like they tried to make it out as if like you were some bum, like you haven't got anything going on when you've been working since you were 16.
I've been working since I was 16. My first job was at JD.
Okay.
So I was working part-time while I was at sixth form. I was working at JD Sports. And then I finished sixth form, I got my A-levels, and I just wasn't ready for uni. I was like, you know what, education's a lot right now. So I then went to go work at Harrods, and I actually was promoted to supervisor. So I'm not going to run through my CV, but I've been working in fashion since I was 16. And after uni, then I went into the corporate world, still in fashion and beauty, but more office-based. So I am a hard worker. It is upsetting when people judge my work ethic, because if they genuinely knew how hard I worked hard before I was a mother, but since being a mother, it's double the work, because I've already done a shift before I get into the office, because I've gotten dressed, gotten my son ready, dropped him off at nursery, done the commutes into central London. I've already been awake for 3 hours before I've even got and sat down at my computer and worked. And then I have to do that. And then I have to do the same thing in the evening, another 3 hours. I might not get home till 8 p.m, and I have to get him quickly, dinner, bath, bed, get up and do it all again the next day. So no one works harder than a working mum. So there's no way people can. It's upsetting when people are like, oh, she doesn't want to work, or she's lazy, or she's bum. No one works harder than a single mum. So if I haven't said it before, shout out to the single mums. You're doing the damn thing. And single fathers.
Then do you feel like women needs to stop settling for the bare minimum and actually raise the bar high?
I don't even think anything needs to change. I think preferences are so individual.
Okay.
People need to decide what they want for themselves.
Okay.
And once you decide what you want for yourself, I feel like you need to stick with it. Like, set your own boundaries, set your own standards. Like, like I said, if you are happy settling for the bare minimum and being low maintenance, sweetie, do that. No one's gonna tell you off. That is your life. If that's how you want to live it, then that's okay. I've been there, I didn't like it, and I don't want to go there again. So I'm like, no. If I see low effort from a man, that's not the man for me. He needs to go with a low maintenance woman. You know, that's okay. I'm okay when people are like, oh, you know, if your standards are too high, you're too picky, you're gonna die alone. That's okay. I'm okay being single. I would rather be single than be in a miserable relationship. Something that crushes my soul. That's not what I want. I've been there. I don't want to be miserable. Like, I'm happy, you know, being alone. And if I'm going to change that and bring someone into my life, he needs to be great. Like, he needs to be great, because my son's going to model himself after this guy. So he needs to be great. But I digressed a little bit. So I'll go back to your question. I think everyone, not just women, I think men as well, should have standards. Have standards, not just for the people they want to date, but for themselves. Like, as a man, do you really want to be low effort? Do you really, is that really what you want for yourself? No, you have to be honest. You have to think about it, like, as a man, like, the way you behave, if you're low effort, would you want that for your mum? Would you want that for your sister? Would you want that for your daughter? If your daughter brought home someone like you, would you be like, well done? Would you be happy? And I feel like, no, you wouldn't. You would want the best for your daughter. So why should then I settle for less? I'm someone's daughter. I should want what's best for me. And I feel like, and the thing is, what's best for me might not be best for another girl. She might want less, or she might want more, and that's okay. Like, we're all different. I don't understand why we're constantly having to force ourselves to try and think the same and behave the same. Like, we are a diverse society, especially here in the UK. So that should also translate into our thoughts. Our thoughts should be diverse as well.
I love your take on it. I love it. I'm here for it. And the fact that you did not back down on like some of the things that you wanted, and like even after like everything that aired, you were just like, no, I said what I said. I said what I said.
Because I wasn't faking. The thing is, it's easy to back down from a statement or back down from a standard if that's not how you genuinely feel. I wasn't thinking, this is who I am, and I get it. I'm a polarizing personality. There's got to be people that love me, and there's got to be people that hate me. I get that, but that's life. I can't make everyone happy, and I don't never expect to. I don't expect everyone to love me. The girls that get it, and the girls that don't, and that's just how life is. So
yes, we love that.
I say that with love as well.
No, and it's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, it's your preference. This is what you want. This is your expectations. And like, you shouldn't get all the backlash for it, to be honest, in my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, Porscha, we gotta talk about the dinner party madness showdown. Moving in, the first dinner party, the third dinner party, just a whole lot like going on, which was a lot to watch as a viewer. But I gotta ask you, like, watching it back, is there anything you feel like you could have done differently in terms of your argument with Terence, and just in terms of your whole experience on the show?
Watching it back was upsetting because so much was cut out. So much was cut out. It looked like it was just argument, which it wasn't. The first Spoongate, the honeymoon Spoongate that happened, the next day we were actually cool. We went to the airport, we hung out, whatever, we had conversation. Obviously we weren't lovey-dovey anymore, but we were definitely not arguing. we filmed moving back into the apartments. We were laughing and joking, filming, and then the conversation actually started with us sitting down quite calm, and I was just telling him how hurtful those comments were. You know, I just want to know, like, did you say it in the heat of the moment, or was there something that you genuinely feel about me? Because if it was said in the heat of the moment, it's easily forgiven on my side. So I wanted to understand, and he was like, yeah, that's how I feel. And I was like, whoa. And then it obviously, I was like, I just can't understand, like, why me not wanting your spoon means that I'm then childish. I just couldn't understand the correlation, because I'm gonna be so for real. Like, it's a spoon. Like, I don't have to explain. Like, if you ask me a sweet and I'm like, no, thank you. Even if we've just had an argument, I don't have to explain myself for not wanting your sweet. I might just not be wanting a sweet. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't then make me childish. But he obviously felt that way, and seems like the whole public agreed. And I'm just like, whoa, like, is this how you guys speak to each other? But it was upsetting because it made it look like it was just argument. I moved out because I just couldn't stay there. Obviously, I couldn't live there, knowing that's how he felt about me. And it was hurtful because usually when people, my ego is not so fragile. So usually if somebody's going to come at me, especially if they don't know me, I would probably just walk away. Which I did actually at Spoongate. When he first said I'm childish, they cut out that scene. I actually walked out, started taking off my shoes, and I was like, I'm done. Then I went, when he left, I went back to eat, and then he came back, and I was like, for God's sake. And then the argument continued. Anyways, so I probably would have, when I walked out the first time during dinner, after he called me childish twice, I would have stayed out. Because I walked out and I only went back because I thought he was done. Because I walked out and then he walked out and started like leaving. So I was like, great, he's left. Let me go back and finish my dinner because actually I haven't eaten. I should have just stayed out and gone straight to my hotel room. The argument wouldn't even have happened. But he decided to come back, and then it just continued. And it was just like, why have you come? I was just so annoyed because I was like, why have you come back to argue some more? And then obviously that's coming. And then where I've then tried to, which is what I usually do if I'm arguing with someone, I will then try and speak to them the next day to try and resolve it. He was completely dismissive, which obviously frustrated me more, which obviously turned into just me saying, I can't do this, I'm walking out, and him thinking, you know, just being completely dismissive of my feelings, of my thoughts, and refusing to address the issues, refusing to address what I'm coming to him with, which was hurtful. So by the time we went to the dinner party, so when I left, so let me give you a bit of inside tea. When I left the apartments, I was then with the producers in a separate apartment, which I was going to stay in. And they could see, obviously, I was visibly upset. And they were like, look, let's leave it for today. You can stay here tonight. And in the morning, we're going to bring you back upstairs and film you guys getting ready together. And then you guys can go to the dinner party together. Right. So that was the plan. So I've just chilled out the evening, gone to bed, woken up. Production knocks on my door. They're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Thinking I'm going to go upstairs. They're like, Terence wants to walk in by himself today. I'm like, okay, he's made that decision. I was like, So I was super hurt that he's made that decision without even discussing it with me. Not even saying to production, do you want to ask Porscha what she thinks? Anything, right? Just flat out made that decision, which is, again, such a big no-no in my culture. That would just never happen. So I was like, who is this guy? I've never been treated that way. So I was like, this is all very foreign to me, all very upsetting. I didn't even really want to go to the dinner party because I was like, right, they're literally just I'm gonna have to tell everyone because it's gonna be so obvious. I'm gonna walk in by myself. Those are the questions that's gotta be asked. So I've only got two choices: to lie and pretend everything is fine, or just give them the tea, which you saw happen. There was a lot that happened at dinner party that was very upsetting that he did to me. Obviously, you guys saw him come over and ignore me to the girls. Felt like it was very schoolyard because the mixer was like over an hour long. He could have said hello to those girls at any moment. I wasn't with them all night. I mean, I didn't say hello to Brad for about 4 or 5 hours because he was talking to Brad so much and I didn't want to get in between that. So there was moments where he could have waited till we finished that scene and gone and said hello to the girls, but he specifically chose to come and say hello to them and ignore me, which he can say what he wants, but it's very intentional. It's intentional. Like, you've gone over. It would have been easier for him. He didn't even have to kiss me. He could have just been like, hey, as a gentleman, you know what I mean? Not he didn't have to expect a response. Like, if he wanted to say hey, he would have said hey. He didn't want to say hey. Done. That was upsetting. Then there was a moment where you see him come over. They've muted my sound. I've literally said to him, not right now, I'm eating. I'll come and get you, right? He's gone back and sat down. Literally 2 minutes after that, I finished chewing what I'm chewing. I've gone and grabbed him. We've walked over to the sofas. This scene was completely cut out. We walked over to the sofas and I've gone to him, okay, like, go ahead. And then he's just gone back to trying to justify why I deserve to be called childish. Blah, blah, blah. I've not interrupted him. I've left him to finish. Once he's finished, I've said, okay, is that everything? And he's gone, what, you expecting an apology? And I've gone, and I've got up and I've walked away. And so that's already upsetting me because he's not going to apologize. Like, you know, he's basically told me that. And so obviously after that, I've just felt like all these emotions bubble up. I felt like I can't be in this room. Like, I'm just so vulnerable right now. Like, I'm going to have crying, because the thing is, I don't have, the kind of men I date are gentlemen. Even if we're arguing, they don't call me out my name. I've never, ever been called out my name by a guy, right? Yeah. They don't call me out my name. My father doesn't call me out my name, and he doesn't even shout at me. So all of that behavior is very foreign to me. So I think it was hurting more because I'm not used to it. And even like it all felt like spite. And I just was like, what have I done like to warrant such disdain? What have I done?
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
What have I done to warrant such disdain? Like, honestly, like, what have I done? Like, I haven't called you out your name. I haven't sworn at you. I've tried to resolve it. We're talking about my side right now, yeah? This is how I'm thinking. And it was just also painful. And it was making me realize very quickly, I am not going to have the mass experience I was expecting. I'm not going to have the love story. Like, it was all of that, all of those thoughts were going in my head. So I've ran out to try and just get away from the group. Shona's followed me. And obviously, you know, I've had like a mini breakdown. You guys saw me crying. And then he's come out, and I'm just thinking, after everything you've done to me, why have you come out here? You've had every opportunity to be kind to me, and you've chosen to be mean. You've chosen to be mean. And now I'm trying to just have a moment with Shona. Like, it was very annoying because I was like, I'm literally just trying to have a one-on-one, like, and just let some of my feelings out with like girly time. And you've come to interrupt it, and just to do the same thing you've been doing all night, to just be mean to me. It wasn't a productive conversation. So I obviously then walked away. But yeah, that was a horrible experience. It was a horrible night. It was a very horrible night. And it was a very eye-opening night. I suppose what I learned from that situation, just from those let's say three events, I wouldn't even say 3 days because it was much more than 3 days. But from those 3 events that you guys seen, to go back to my old stance, which is not to take things personally from people that don't know you personally. After in a normal situation, after the Chargers comment, that would have been the last time he ever spoke to me. Okay. But you got to remember, I was also thinking, he's my husband. Like, why would he speak to me that way? Yeah. So I wanted to try, because we had married each other. So I wanted to try. But then I should have also remembered, but Porsche, he doesn't know you. He can call you whatever he wants. I was so focused on the fact that we were on honeymoon and we were married and we'd made this commitment. I negated the fact that he actually doesn't know me. So don't take it personally. I took it extremely personally as a huge attack on my character, because I felt like during that honeymoon, I was starting to open myself up to him and be vulnerable. And it was such an attack on who I am. Because I was like, and then after that, it's almost like I had all my walls went up, because I was like, I showed you a peek and you insulting me. I don't want to show you anymore. But it was hard. Yeah. So basically, that's probably what I would learn. Like, even if I would never be in a situation like this again. Let's be so for real. When am I going to marry a stranger again? But even so, probably, yeah, just don't take. I wouldn't even say what have I learned. I would probably just give the advice, if anyone's in a similar situation, is don't take things personally from people that don't know you personally. Just water off a duck's back and walk away.
You know, after all of that, like, things really started to look up because the experts come in and they try to support you with like the communication, and you know, things things seemed really good. Like you guys were happy at I believe the second dinner party. What do you think went wrong after that?
For dinner party 3 or CC3? If I'm going to be completely honest, I think it was an element of two things. An element of he didn't even really want to be there from the beginning. I mean, he wrote leave on the first week. He would never plan to stay. No one writes that. I mean, Roz and Tom, you know, are continuing to try and try.
They tried to stay.
They're making an effort with each other because they, in their minds, had planned to stay. Do you understand? So they are, which shows the difference. He had never planned to stay. Why did you sign up for this? Like, what was the intention? Okay, clearly you're not here for a marriage then. So I already kind of knew, like, he wasn't there for marriage. He wasn't there.
Why did you decide to like just continue to pursue it? Like, did you see that perhaps maybe there could be something more?
That's where those comments of "you're not matching my energy" came in.
Oh, yeah, because we saw that part, but we just didn't. It was just chopped and screwed. It was
very chopped and screwed.
Yeah, so and I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I got frustrated as a viewer because I was thinking, well, what's going on? Like,
so that's what, because day 1 and 2, I was matching his energy because I thought he was genuine, and he was very happy. He was like, I can't believe we're so similar. I can't believe the experts have given me exactly what I want. All this kind of stuff. I was like to myself, like, Porsche, don't jump too deep into this because, like, you know, he's telling you this, and he might not actually be trying to stay. And
was that a red flag for you as well?
Oh, huge red flag. Who wants to hear that? It's not, I'm here to, you know, fall in love, or I want to experience marriage, or anything to do with the experiment. You know, even I'm here to learn about myself. That would be a genuine. So that obviously made me withdraw a bit. And then that obviously made his frustrations, because he was like, why are you so quiet? Why are you not matching my energy? Why are you like, and I was just thinking, I can't give you all of myself because I don't know if you're here to stay yet. I need to see more of you. Like, I need to see more. And yeah, I saw more. And I think another element, of CC3 as to why things went awry was the whole spin the bottle thing. First of all, it was just, I think it's disgraceful that it was so focused on me, considering I came late, left early, considering I did the least amount of activity. But it's so funny that it seems, I'm not going to, you know, make any accusations, but it seems from what I've heard from people commenting that the whole cast are constantly speaking, not the whole cast, some of the cast are speaking about myself and my activities instead of speaking about their own. And it's just like, guys, like, come on. Like, I don't you think it's been bad enough with the edit, like, to actually put that extra strain on me? It's just, but I suppose that's the kind of people they are. But going back to, I think it had a combination of, like, people just wouldn't let this thing go, because I told him the next morning when I first saw him, right? I told him, I apologized for it. He was like, obviously he was a little bit like, side-eyeing, and he was like, oh, if it was you, you'd be mad. And I was like, honestly, I wouldn't, because I feel like as well, people overestimated how much I liked Terence. I'm not really a jealous person, and I'm not, and even if when I am jealous, it only happens once I'm in love. I was not in love with Terence.
Okay.
I wasn't territorial over him at all. You know, I wasn't like, he's my man. I wasn't that was that feeling wasn't there for me. And he was very not like that about me either. He wasn't like, that's my girl. Like, he wasn't like that.
Yeah, it wasn't there
like, yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was,
we liked each other, but not enough.
No, we wasn't committed or even emotionally invested. We never had that time. You got to remember, we were there for a week on honeymoon. Then we didn't speak for almost a week, and we didn't live together. And then it was like a week and a half where we were kind of getting to know each other. Do you know what I mean? And that first half of the week was still kind of like tense. So we never actually had that chance to find those kind of emotions and be so into each other. So, like, it's almost like, imagine you started talking to a guy for 3 weeks, and you go out on a date with another guy and you kiss another guy. You're not gonna feel like, oh my god, you cheated on that guy because you liked him. I know it's a wedding, but we're not legally married. We weren't married in the eyes of God. We're not even acting married. So, but anyways, you know what I mean? We're not even acting get married. Like, we're just about talking. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, anyways, I feel like he had actually got over it that day, and we were actually caught that day. But I feel like it was the constant whispers, the constant conversations. I think it did get into his head a little bit. I think it was just too much and that's why I was so annoyed at everyone else, because this is a situation that we were all involved in. It all happened off camera. It was meant to be a bit of fun. Why did it now become a storyline, and a storyline that it seemed like everyone else was pushing this storyline and was trying to make it a thing, but at my expense and at our expense, at the expense of our relationship. And I'm not going to blame the cast. He made his decision. He's a grown man and he can decide to leave if he wants to, and that's what he did. And that's why I was just like, I can't even fight it, because let's be so for real. Like, who wants to be with a man who is so easily swayed by others? Because you was okay with it when it was just me and you.
Yeah.
But now that everyone else is involved, now you're like, nah, it's too much. That's like, I would prefer somebody just with a stronger head, a stronger mind for themselves.
Yeah, and I don't know, I just felt like you guys had each other's back at the dinner party that day.
That's what was so confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because this is why I say it, I do think it was people getting to his head, because he had my back. He had my back at the dinner party. He even had my back at the commitment ceremony, which I think was very manipulative, because you had already written leave. But then, like, there's a scene where George and Peggy are on the couch and he's literally like telling them off for their behavior at the dinner party. And like, Terence is like, this is why no one's clapping for you. Like, look at your behavior. You've annoyed everyone. Because no one clapped. Yeah, because no one clapped for them when they went up.
Yeah, nobody clapped for them, because I remember he said, oh, right, nobody clapped for them. And then it turned to Tasha saying, oh, it makes sense. It didn't say like, oh, look, nobody.
Yeah, they cut out. Terence did a little piece that they cut out.
Oh,
he did
wow.
A little piece, like, come on, be honest. Like, you know how he is. He's like, come on, be honest. Like, look, that's why no one's coming for you, because you're paying for your stay. And then, like, Peggy starts crying, and then he's like, come on, George, you should take the flag. Look, Peggy's crying. And I was just like, so it was so confused. Like, the way he behaved, no one, like, he shocked everyone. No one would have thought he wrote leave. Because it's like, why are you doing all this? Why are you backing me? Why are you backing us? Why are you defending the situation if you're going to leave? Just leave. Like, why the manipulation?
So confusing.
Why the confusion? And that's why I was genuinely shocked on the sofa. People are like, why is she shocked? It wasn't about, I wasn't shocked just about the spin the bottle thing. I was shocked about his behavior. Was completely contrary. The thing is, what was cut out of the episode was George and Peggy were actually going at everyone. No one was happy with them. They went at Tasha and Paul. They went out Laura and Arthur, because Laura as well was there without Arthur. So they were trying to push the whole cheating narrative onto Laura, and Arthur was just not having it. He backed, like, I heard him, he was like, you owe my wife an effing apology, to George. Like, I was like, Arthur, yes. I was like, tell him. Arthur was the man that night. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, Arthur's my favorite person, but that night I was very impressed with his behavior, and I was even impressed just with Laura and Arthur as a team. I was like, whoa, okay, they really like each other. I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, they're doing this.
Yeah.
So that's why no one clapped for them, because no one was happy with their behavior.
Oh,
they weren't just backing me. They were just they annoyed everyone that day. Like, they were just doing too much. Why are you in everyone's business? Like, why are you mad you went at the party? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and there was actually a funny line that I said that they cut out, and I was sad. I was like, why are you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. and I think everyone was annoyed as well that this storyline became an on-screen thing, because it was we very much all agree that this was an off-duty party. It's entertainment. It's a laugh. At my expense. But it's entertainment. My trauma, your entertainment.
There were a lot of people that were rooting for you, and there was people that were saying, they did her dirty. Why would they match her with a party boy? Like, looking back, do you feel like the experts could have done better with matching you with your husband, the expectations and the requirements that you wanted? Like, be for real. And I know you like them, but be for real.
All right, I'm gonna be so for real. I think the hardest part of this experience was, for me, was I waited 3 years for this opportunity because I applied 3 years ago, and they called me every year saying, wanting me to do the casting again and again. And the third year I was like, no, I'm not doing this with you guys. Like, this is the third year you've called me. And they were like, this could be your year, blah, blah, blah. So when they found me a match, I was like, he has to be perfect because they've made me wait so long. They've made me wait so long. They couldn't find me a match the 2 years before. So this guy has to be the freaking guy. I was literally like, it's written in the stars. It must be heaven sent. So, but from what I hear, and even like when you watch his intro video, I think he completely downplayed the DJ thing. I think during casting, this is just my thoughts. This is not something that's been verified or anything. But if I'm going to be completely honest, from watching his intro video, I think he sold himself to the show, the experiment, as a father and a youth worker. And just, a compassionate person, a giving, generous, in the community kind of guy. I think that's where, because even if you listen to the matching process with the experts, they're like, he's a father, he works with disadvantaged kids, she's a mother, they're going to really connect on that level. So they don't even mention the fact that he's a DJ when they're matching us. So I think that's something that he only bigged up once he was on the show. Do you understand? So that's why I don't really put fault with the experts. I think they genuinely thought, from how he was selling himself, like even down to like his intro video, he literally says, I want a woman who wants to stay at home, who cooks my dinner. I like to go out and provide. I'm a provider man. Like, he says all these things. So I can imagine he said all these things to the experts. Do you understand? And that's why they thought this is such a good match, because I wanted a provider. I like to stay at home. Do you understand? So I don't blame the experts in this at all. Like, I think they did their job based on the information they had. So.
Which makes sense, because I'm not gonna lie, even me, I predicted you guys to, like, even when I first saw the casting, when it was first revealed,
The bio,
yeah, I was like, Porscha and Terence, oh, they're gonna be matched. And then you guys did get matched because of the same reason that you said. Same, like, literally, like, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense when you put it out like that. But looking back, do you regret going into the experiment?
In life, I try not to have any regrets. I try to let life unfold as it will, good or bad. The thing is, if someone told me before going in, showed me a video and was like, this is how it's going to turn out, I'd be like, oh, hell no. Oh, no. Absolutely not. Am I going to do this? No, I'm happy with my life. I'm going to stay how I was. But I suppose that is literally just that's the magic of life. That's life is a beautiful mystery. And I feel like there's a reason why we can't predict the future, because we wouldn't do a lot of the things that we're meant to do that will take us to places where we're meant to go. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year's time or 5 years time. Honestly, I don't know the rest of my journey, but I do know this, for whatever insane reason, was meant to be part of that journey. So no, I don't have any regrets. It's been hard, but life is not always easy, and you take the good with the bad and you keep it pushing.
I love that. What's been your best moments in the experiment for you? Despite everything else, like, if you had to pick your best moments.
I had so much fun with Nathaniel and Laura and Tasha. In the apartments, we just had so much fun, and I think having those bonds were probably my best bit. And the crew, like, I love CPL, like, they always made me feel special, so I loved like hanging out with them. So yeah.
Who were like the most closest person that you had in the experiment, like your most closest and your least closest?
I mean, I think it's very obvious who my least closest are. Peggy and George. But I think my closest, I would say the people I was most vulnerable with is Nathaniel and Tasha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell as well with you and Nathaniel as well. Like, you guys had like a bond. Like,
yeah. Like, we got to know each other, like, genuinely got to know each other, like, outside of this experiment, in the sense of, like, we had a really good understanding of who each other were. Like, so yeah.
I love that. Now, of course, you know, you being in the experiment, you know, dealing with the trolls and the backlash, like, did it take a toll on your mental health, and how were you able to like deal with it? Because it's a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I literally felt bad for you. I was like, this backlash is so unnecessary. So I can't imagine how you felt.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. The public are mean. They could be great, but it was cruel. I did think it was unnecessary because I just couldn't imagine having such vile thoughts about a stranger. I just couldn't imagine that. So week one was very low for me. I don't think I felt that low since I was a teenager. I was really low. I was in a hole. I had to take a couple of days away from my son. Yeah,
It's
so
all right. It's okay. It's all right. You can let it out.
yeah, it was tough, but I've got such a great support network.
Yeah.
Like, my parents are everything, my family, my sisters, and my friends, and my pastor. I got a pastor who checks up on me regularly, so he prayed for me, and I do think if it wasn't for prayer, I probably wouldn't be okay this quickly. So thank God that I have that. And CPR were good. They gave me regular welfare checks and access to a therapist whenever I wanted to. So that was really helpful. So yeah, no, week one was tough. It was tough because I knew it was gonna be bad. I just didn't think that everyone else would be. I knew it would be bad watching it back because I experienced it. I just didn't think everyone would then hate me for having emotions and being vulnerable. I just felt like people negated the fact that I was actually hurting during that. It's like they couldn't see my pain as pain, and I felt completely dehumanized by the edit and by people's reaction to the edit. But like I said, it's in the past now. We move, we keep it pushing.
Yeah. It's moving forward now, onwards and upwards from here.
For sure, for sure.
Now, obviously, now that you have a platform, you know, you've been on the show, your platform has grown. I mean, you've got quite a lot of followers, Porscha. So
no one cares what I have to say.
What's next? What's next for you? Like, what are you currently working on? Is there anything that you're planning on doing now that you've left the experiment, or is there anything that you're looking to do, perhaps?
Oh, the thing is, I don't really like to speak on things until they're signed, sealed, and delivered. But yeah, I mean, whether or not you'll see more of me, God knows. But for now, I'm definitely, I'm focusing on a few things.
Oh,
yeah. No, I know, like literally, I'm living life. I'm always doing something, you know, and right now I'm just gonna focus on myself, and we'll see where that takes me.
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Porscha, for coming to my platform. I know you're very busy. You have a very busy schedule, so it means a lot to me. Any last words? Where can the people find you? Where can the people find you on social media? Let us know.
I mean, you can find me on Instagram, of course, but I suppose I'm much more active on TikTok. So follow my TikToks. I do quite a few lives there, and we've been having fun over there. So follow my TikTok, and you'll put it in the caption, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
so it's the same app, but yeah, follow my TikTok and Instagram. You never know, but yeah, if you want to see or hear more of me, if you don't, then have a nice life.
Wait, one last question for you.
Go ahead.
Now that you've had the experience on Maths UK, would you advise anyone to go and do the experiment? The pause says it all.
I have to be so for real. You need to have a strong mind and thick skin. And you need to be ready that this probably 90% won't be the experience you think it's going to be. If you can accept all those things and accept that you could potentially get a lot of hate for it, the public might not love you. You might not get what you want out of it. And you could give it everything. It doesn't matter if you're the best person there or you do give it everything. You might not get what you want from it. If you can accept that, then go for it. But also remember, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So if you're a risk taker, you've got nothing to lose.
Interesting. That's a great advice.
That's what I
But
would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you, Porscha, for coming to the platform once again. I really do appreciate it, and we should hopefully see you again on our screens, perhaps.
Maybe if God wills it. Yeah, why
Maybe
not? I don't know.
But yeah, well, all the best in everything that you're doing. Honestly, you've done amazing. You've literally just kept it real, and I have a lot of respect for you. The fact that you just didn't back down, like the fact that you just stay true to yourself, and that's all that matters, to be honest. And yeah, honestly, I really appreciate watching your journey, and yeah, I'm looking forward to everything that you have going on.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and block the comments. I'll speak to you later, babe.
See you later. Bye-bye.